Right, most of you will recognise this. This is a Willy's Jeep. Now, this was from 1945, so this probably, and it was in the UK in 1945, so it's probably past the D-Day landings, but certainly could have gone over to the continent as they were still with logistics and helping with stuff. But we're going to talk about this as a classic car, why I think it's an absolute classic car, why I think it's part of world history, and why also I think it's a key part of automotive history, and we'll talk about the connection to Land Rover and all that stuff. So back in 1945, the UK military didn't really have any military cars that were UK made. They had some things called Tillys, which were like a Austin, sort of pre-war Austin, big wings and headlights on the top that they'd converted into pickup trucks. So the Willys Jeep was a 4x4, so the UK had no military 4x4. So when the Jeep came on the scene, it was really transformational. So with no military vehicles, the UK bought loads of these, or were lent them by the Americans, and everyone fell in love with them. They were so useful, so easy to maintain, so easy to drive. So not much is known about the history of this car until 1955, when it was rebuilt under a scheme in Manchester, and it was rebuilt and sent over to Norway to be used by the Norwegian army, and then it was stationed there, and then it got refurbished again in like 1990 or something by the Norwegian military, and then it was sold into civilian use, and in 1999 it came back to the UK, which is really cool. And it hasn't really been sort of restored since it came back, although technically it's been restored twice. So let's have a look at some of the cool features. So this has got all its gear. The guy has really nerded out and collected the original spades. It's even got like some gun thing going on, look, under a gun holder in here. So you've got a 3-speed gearbox, you've got proper low ratio, so that meant it could go absolutely anywhere. So the other interesting angle on these cars, they're just so cool, is that post-war, Maurice Wilks, who was the engineering director at Rover, had one on his farm, and he thought these are really useful, and he used to spend loads of time with it. And he came up with the idea of making a civilian car that was like a Jeep, but for more civilian use, for using on your farm, etc. And that gave birth to the Land Rover Series 1. And the first Land Rover prototypes were actually built on a Willys Jeep chassis. So, you know, was it a copy? Was it inspired by? Was it an evolution? And at the end of the video, we'll do a quick sort of evolution of what this started and where it all went to. Right, let's have a look at some more cool features. This has got an original World War II spade. Apparently that is technically correct. Now, apparently there's some box in the back or something where it used to have a radio, and the guys left that there because it was evidence it used to have. Apparently it's got some decontamination thing. I don't know what's that, but yeah, I've never had a Jeep, but it'd be cool to have. Yeah, so there you go, a very basic side valve engine. Looks like a Zenith downdraft carburetor. Very basic setup. You've even got the grease gun here, ready to grease all your joints up. So there we go, a Willys Jeep. So what did that lead on to? Can we see any similarities between this and a Land Rover Series 1? Let's go and have a look. So before we go and look at the Land Rovers, let's talk about, so this is in the auction this weekend, Iconics auction. It's lot number 502. I think this is on the Saturday auction, and the guide price is 20 to 25,000, which looking around seems about right. They all seem to stay rock solid at the 20,000. And so they actually made there's actually 15,000 known Jeeps, World War II Jeeps surviving, and 5,000 of them are in the UK. So getting parts for them and everything is dead easy. And so they're really practical, enjoyable, and they're not that big. You can fit them in most standard garages. So a really useful classic to own. This is a Series 1 Land Rover, which sort of followed on from the Willys Jeep, and obviously the Series 1 led on to the Series 2, 3, and that evolved into the Land Rover Defender, which obviously we've now got the new Defenders and the Defender Octa. So the whole journey originated with the Willys Jeep. So that's why I think it's a really iconic historical vehicle.